So here it is.
Wonderful.
Shall we start then?
Yes.
Okay, so this is topic number 4 on this course. For whoever is joining, welcome. Morning, afternoon, evening for everyone listening, watching this in different times of the day. This is our, we are talking about key topics in Spiritism as an introductory program. It's based on a program in the US that is, how is it called, 101? That's how the US call introductory courses, the first one in college. And this is our topic on reincarnation. But before we talk about reincarnation, we need to go back a little bit. Not sure if everyone has been following and watching every one of the topics. So I'll go back just a little bit to talk about God, because it's a critical concept for us to understand reincarnation. Without going too much details, and I invite everyone to watch the session that we did, number 2, that talks specifically, gives a lot of detail about God. God is the supreme intelligence, the first cause of everything. This is very consistent with any tradition, most of the traditions, Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, all of them have the same definition of God. And why we are talking about God in this session? Because one important concept, we are not, the spirits tell us on the Spirit book that we cannot fully comprehend the divinity of God, but we can grasp some of the attributes, what we know God for. And one of the attributes of divinity that I put here on a bigger font to highlight, that is important for the topic of today, is that God is supremely just and good. This great wisdom of the divine is clearly, it reveals everywhere, in the big and the small things. It is impossible for us to doubt God's justice or goodness if we really take clue. A lot of us do take this because sometimes we don't have the complete picture. We don't understand fully some aspects of how this supremely justice or goodness of God come to life. And reincarnation is a key element for us to understand this justice or goodness. And also it's a key element, and it's closely connected for us to truly believe God is justice and good. And it's like the chicken and egg situation, because also understanding that God is supremely just and good helps us understand that reincarnation does exist, if anyone has any doubt. I kind of find it interesting that most people that come to talks like this, to webinars like this, have intrinsically some sense of the immortality of the soul, because it also an innate feeling, an attribute that all of us have. I again invite everyone. We did a talk on the mortality of the soul that talks way more on details about this topic, but fair to say that most of us have this innate idea of the immortality of the soul. And now we are coupling these ideas of the immortality of the soul, the divinity, what is God about, so we can talk and understand the process of reincarnation. Step back, done. Let's recap. We have God, the supreme intelligence, all being, the primary cause of everything. And then we understand that the supreme God of everything also is supremely just and good. If we think about that, one of the key aspects of reincarnation is based on this justice. There are a lot of words there, and I'm not going to read, but important for us to understand, if any of us, if we understand on this kindness, justice, goodness of God, how do you think God can be more unjust than a caring and loving father or mother? Because if we think about, and we have experiences, all of us have different experiences with our parents, but we also have experiences in living in this world and understanding and seeing either through, because of our friends or videos, we have some images or some understanding of what a caring mother and father are about. I truly hope, because I have the most amazing parents, and I have no doubt about it, and I hope everyone has no doubt about it. So I'm hoping everyone had that experience, that if we fail and we don't do something well, they had, my parents that are absolutely incredible, had told me, gave me new opportunities for me to, okay, you might not have done right this time. This is what right should be. Here's the next time. Here's what you can do to redeem yourself. Or if I have done something that was at some time rebellious, on my teenage years, have done some of that, I can tell, unfortunately. But unfortunately, it's a learning, and I wouldn't take differently. They say, okay, if you have done something that is not good to someone, to you or to a mother, to a grandmother, this is how you're gonna redeem yourself. You're gonna do some extra activity in the house. You are gonna do extra work. You're gonna have to do more activities, or you can pray more, send us, I would go to the Spiritist Center myself, but go to the Spiritist Center, or go pray, or go do some charity, or do some, if you've done something for your grandma, just do something to repair what you have done for her. And same as teachers that we had in life, we not always get it right. We try, or I really like sports, and if you like sport or playing the piano, my piano teacher gave me, I don't know, numerous times and chances, fail, do it again. A very good piano player or music player or whatever instrument has tried numerous times. If you see them playing once, and I saw a very good show last night, and I was thinking how many times the actors had rehearsed that act. I was watching some of Lady Gaga playing, whatever he was, La Bien Rose, and I saw the performance, and I was like, how many times have she rehearsed to get to this incredible performance? So this is reincarnation. Do you think God would be different than any of caring fathers and mothers and teachers that give us anything different? If we don't do it right this time, we don't get another chance. We are condemned for the eternity. I cannot think, based on what we know of God, that he is the supreme wisdom, supreme goodness, that he would not give me another chance. If we fail, of course I'll get another chance. Why God would be more unfair, more uncaring than a good parent, and would not give a second chance? Wouldn't give us the opportunity, as I was giving my example of the musician, to rehearse and do it again and do it again and do it again, how many times are necessary for us to get there. This is, for me, a clear topic for us to think through, that if God is all this justice, I cannot think he wouldn't condemn me for the rest of my eternity to be stuck and not have a second chance. So that would be very not in line of what we said about the attributes of God. that, by the way, I would again encourage you to go back to the first to the topic about God. These attributes are shared by most philosophies and traditions, because it's an innate feeling that God is justice. And this is the thing to say if we're talking about today and the future, but also if we're talking about the past. If we are going through a situation today that we cannot really understand, and it doesn't seem unfair, it has to have a prior cause, a cause that lies in lives before that, in experiences that we had before this one. Here is talking about poverty or sickness or illness or some conditions that if you see anyone that is trapped on, for us, it does appear that the person is trapped. That would say, how can we trap it on a body that doesn't allow the person to actually perform the duties? Do we think that is justice? How come? We need to acknowledge and think through that if God is all this justice, we cannot think that is fair. So it has to have a cause. If God is the cause of everything, and this situation has happened, and he is supremely good, the cause should precede the effect, that is the situations that we are today. And we are doing that for many different reasons, but either to redeem ourselves, as in my example, you've done something not so kind to your grandma, so you now need to repair her from doing extra work, I don't know, cleaning the house or helping her going to the doctor or something, but also for us to try it out. I don't know if I'm really good at doing some activity if I haven't done it before. Do you know how to do skateboarding? I'm not sure, never done. Will I be good? I don't know, have to try. So also God gave us these opportunities for us to try it out, different experiences. Am I going to be, how am I going to perform? We say a lot about poverty, but have you thought about that? How will you be, perform, act if you are surrounded by rich, that you have all the money that you can think of? What are you going to do with the money? How are you going to help people with the money? How are you exercising your kindness in that environment that you have so much? Are you going to be using that in a selfish way? Or if you are sick, and now you think about sickness, but maybe on the other hand, all of us have a really healthy, and what are we doing with our health? Are we destroying that? Are we using that for the sake of good? So all these trials, God give us the opportunity in different experiences for us to either redeem things that we have done in the past, or for us to try it out different things. Okay, so we have established so far God, good, cause of everything, just. And if we accept that, we also accept that he would be a caring, he and I use he here in not a proper way. I would say God gave us, because Kardec asked us, what is God? Not what he is God. So what is God? And the God, that's why I'm a mistake on using him. But this God is just, and we have this basis that he would be carrying, giving us all these opportunities. What do we need the opportunities for? What do we need the reincarnation for? A lot of us think we are here to be extremely earthly happy, but we are here to aim for evolution. And evolution can be earthly happiness or cannot be, but it surely means the steps toward perfecting each one of us. And we do that perfection by work, by effort, by alternating joy and sorrow until we create the celestial state. So the aim of this life is evolution. Beautifully said by Leon Denis, a great, after Kardec, and more or less at the same time, great instructor that came to us, incarnated in France, and gave us beautiful, beautiful teachings. Summarize these as, in the same after that, what it is perfection. And I love this quote, and that's why I brought it, and I'll give you the Kardec one in just a second. But as we are using this incarnation towards creating perfection, what is perfection? Because in Spiritism, you're going to hear in different aspects saying, we are here to perfect ourselves. We are here to evolve. This is the continuous path of evolution. But what is that? Have you stopped and thought about what is actually perfection for you, for me? I'm giving you this quote, but again, I invite every time all of you to take a step, stop. Even if you are listening to this on the video, maybe pause the video here and think about it. What it is perfection for you, not what it is for me, Vanessa, for whoever is listening. What is it for you? And the spirits give us some hints. This one, I love it most, and say, we are beings created by love, by the love of God, and created for love. And for me, this summarizes a lot of what we are talking about on evolution and perfection. It talks about the feeling and the act of love, loving toward. And I'm quoting Jesus here to say, when he talks about his first commandment, if I can put this way, and only, if summarizes all his teachings, he says in some, is love yourself, love your neighbor, tie yourself. That is a beautiful thing to say. The perfection is love ourselves first, because you can only love others as you have something to give. Love your neighbor, tie you love yourself. So you can love yourself, accept who we are, accept our imperfections, accept the beautiful things that we have ourselves, and spread this love. This is perfection. When we are spreading love, we're spreading care, we're spreading goodwill, we're spreading charity, we are sharing the love that created us by love, and we sharing that. That for me, it's a beautiful quote by Leon Denis. Invite all of you to read the book and many others that he has. And there are some series by Buzz on also about the work of Leon Denis to study more. But this beautiful quote summarizes in what a bit of perfection. But going back, we are going back to the source. I took a look at the Spirit's book, and Kardec mentioned about what is a pure spirit. When we get there, what is it? What we should aim for is, and he describes in two ways. First, if we are looking for a role model, if anyone wants to look for a role model, because at least for me, I will tell you, I really like role models because it's the way we can, for me, some examples help to see what is the path. And Kardec mentions that if we are looking for role models, the best role models that we can look for, aim to be, is Jesus. Jesus is the most pure spirit that has incarnated on this planet, Earth. So by studying the teachings and the example of Jesus, we are going towards this perfection. at the same time, Kardec also gave us, after giving these, and if you read the Spirit's book, it's super interesting as the way they describe. If you need an example, who is it? Jesus. Full stop. Then he does explain. So it's very clear. But he also gave us some more information to say what is a pure spirit. And it does say that matter has, for this pure spirit, matter have no influence. They are characterized by the moral and intellectual superiority in relation to the spirit of others. So two critical aspects here, moral and intellectual. So we need to evolve towards that sharing and caring love by developing our moral and our intellectual abilities. One might help the other, and they go together. It's super important to say that they go together. And I emphasize here also because sometimes we also think about the moral one, and sometimes we balance to one side or the other, but they go together. So my entire joke is I'm not really a fan of biology and chemistry. I've had a little issue with physics when I was back in school, and even though I really like math. The thing is, for me, and some people love that and don't like whatever else, but we have to evolve our intellectual ability. So someday I'll have to learn biology, chemistry, and physics, or whatever the natural things in the world, the natural laws, because that is part of investing our intellectually is part of our evolution as well. It doesn't go alone. It doesn't help. It helps, but in a way, but it's not the goal to be attained, to only focus on this side of things. Or if you, there's another interesting question on the Spirit's book that talks about if you are only, you can lock yourself, say, okay, I have to develop myself intellectually. I'm gonna lock myself up in a room. I'll go and study and study and study and study and study. There's a, or some of people get recluse, excuse me, go into a reclusive life, wanting to have this intellectual and meditate all the time and everything. And the Spirit say very clearly that you need to apply this. You need to use this intellectual in a moral way, and involving these towards, as Jesus said, love yourself, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And then these things together will help us evolve in getting over the matter and getting towards this pure spirit experience that we have as a destiny to get there. How we are going to there is under our free will, but we all going to get there. One of the questions on this is that I get asked is, Vanessa, all good and well, I have to evolve intellectually, I have to evolve morally, I have to share love, but do I have to come to this planet? Why do I have to go through all this trouble to incarnate here when we talked about this on some of the lessons, that our true home is the spiritual world? Why do I have to go all the trouble? Why do I have to come and incarnate again, creating this reincarnation process? Why do I have to incarnate on Earth? Why do I have to incarnate using in this planet? Can I not evolve in the spirit world? And one of the spirits asked then, gave the answer to Kardec that we must experience the difficulties of the physical existence. Why? One of the important thing is the previous question talking about the pure spirits suffer no influence of the matter. You only gonna get to the state if you deal with matter, if you deal with this body, if you deal with the challenges and beautiful things. As I tell the other, I was talking to someone, I say, this body, as imperfect as it is, with whatever pain you have this moment, with whatever limitation you have, whatever illness you have, I might have, I'm suffering from a lot of back pain these days, whatever you have is your experience. That matter is your best friend. This body is our best friends to go through the trials that I just told you about, that are the goals of this incarnation. How we are going to know that we are going to go through these we are going to get over the influence of matter if we don't go through the experience. And having gone through what matters and the challenges that this matter has, the challenges and opportunities, I say there are more opportunities and challenges on acting and advancing this world in the benefit of the entire process of creation. So yes, it's very easy to say, oh, you know, when you say, I can do that, but you have never tried. Or, oh, no, I'm super good in that, but have you tried? Have you tried again? So, and getting through this experiencing of control or being less influenced by matter means you have gone through the experience as part of the evolutionary process. Okay? One thing, I like doing recaps so we all know where we are. We talk about God as extreme justice. We talk about the basis that this just and God in his entire justice can help us navigate, and as a caring father gave us the opportunity of learning through the process of different incarnations. As then comes the goal of the incarnation to be perfect beings, evolved intellectually and morally, sharing love, created by love, as the goal to love and share this love. This is what we talked about so far. Getting here, oh, okay, all good, understood. It does make sense mentally. I can think about that it does make sense. But Vanessa, can you prove that? Very skeptical people say, can you actually prove that this exists? I'm not really sure. Yeah, it does make sense intellectually. You are talking very logically. You are doing these recaps. You are learning 1 + 1 = 2. Yeah, I'm kind of inclined to say good, but can you give me proof? We can give some evidence. And if you are very skeptical, you're probably gonna say, none of these talk to me. But in any case, I'll try, give some ideas, some evidence, and some people might relate to. I'm not sure, but if you are open to this idea and come to this idea with an open heart and an open mind, you might find this evidence really useful. For instance, a lot of us have innate ideas. If I keep on my music examples, probably there are some musicians today around. These music ideas, how many prodigies we have heard about at the age of 3, 4, 5, that master prodigies in instruments? How many, the Mozart of life, come with this idea? How many of us, there are some things that someone tells you and they say, I kind of knew this before. You're not telling me anything new, and you never studied this before. Nobody has ever told you about that before. You have never watched a video, but you know that. So these innate ideas of something that we know of may have come from a different incarnation that we have, and we cannot prove you know. We kind of have these memories of previous lives as well, and they can group then some examples here of the situations that they call déjà vu, and my French is absolutely terrible, very joking about because I'm not can really say it, but déjà vu actually means you are in a situation on a place, say you go to a new house and you have the feeling, I've been here before. You are introduced to someone and you say, have we met before? And you have never ever crossed paths. This is probably you have crossed paths in a different life. Perhaps you have lived in that city before. Perhaps you had been on that house before. So that is the sensation of the déjà vu. A strong emotion towards something. And sorry if I'm giving an example of myself because it's easier, but it will happen to a lot of people. I'm absolutely scared of heights, absolutely scared. And there's nothing that can tell in this life why I should be scared of heights. Or I enter into cable cars, for instance, and I have a panic attack. My nephew was really joking with me, like, Auntie, why are you having a panic attack? And I have no clue, except that, yeah, I had a clue because somehow, probably in some previous life, something happened for me to have these emotions. Some people have these flashes of their previous life. I've seen, I cannot tell about situations that happened to me, but I know I've read through, and because people come to me and tell me sometimes, say, oh, now that we are talking about this, that happened with me, having flashes of who they were in previous life. And I always discount whoever says, oh, I always have been king and queen or something. This is more of a wish than reality in the sense, not, of course, some of us have been queens and kings and princes in previous life, but reality is we had many, many incarnations and we have different roles in different incarnations, let's put it this way. The experience of young children, there are some books, and we can share some links later if anyone is interested. Please comment on the site and we can send you more links or tips on books that tells about the experience of young children. That has a lot been done in India, for instance, that young children would describe, oh, I was this person, I lived in that house, these were my parents, like children, 3, 4, 5 years old. Oh, I had this company made X, Y, and Z. They lived in the south of India, and they are talking about the city north of India, let's put it this way. And they were talking exactly, precisely what of this previous life. So yeah, that has been records of that. Also in the US has been, and we have plenty of materials telling these stories. That also can happen on hypnotic regression. Some people have flashes during meditation of their previous lives. Some people have that when they have illness or on drugs, because these drugs, when I mean, what kind of drugs actually, but I'm not telling anyone to do drugs. On the absolutely contrary, please not. We're just telling here is that in altered states of mind, because of uses of some chemicals, some people had some flashes, and what has been recorded here is as a side effect. And I'm again on the absolutely contrary, not saying to anyone to use drug. On the other hand, please don't. You are actually impacting. So it's just that it has been recorded that in altered states of mind that happens to have the flashes of previous lives. And in mediumship communications, and I'll invite you to hold that because we're going to talk about mediumship in one of the coming sessions. And we can talk more about how mediumship communications and communications with the spirits tell us and give us evidence of communications. If you are very curious, I would give you a tip to go and look for the book Heaven and Hell that Kardec wrote. There are a lot of communications there with very interesting ideas and very interesting reports or people, some spirits telling about their experience. And that also gives more evidence. But there are so many and plenty of that on mediumship communications. Hold that thought. We're coming back to that in a couple of weeks' time. Please join us again. Okay, we have the evidence, and you might be asking, Vanessa, why you are not asking that exists? You give evidence, but you forgot a piece of evidence. Is why don't I remember fully? If that actually exists, and we need that experience because it makes us who we are today and get to the future, why don't we remember? Why there is this blank on my mind? And this happens again because God is so just and good. We would be overwhelmed because suddenly we would remember so many things that we would go from darkness to light, and all this passive experience might be holding us back. It will be an inconvenience, would create humility for things that we have done and we are not really proud of, or we can be really proud. Imagine that you were, I don't know, a queen or a king, and you are so proud. There was one case that I read today, one boy in India that in a previous life was owned a company and had many people serving him, and he came into a life to experience the experience of poverty, and he was so proud that he could not actually, he said he refused to do anything. So he was not getting the experience that was going through this new situation. And because he was not doing, it was interfering the will for him to evolve, because we all need all this experience. And can you imagine if we look to each other and we look and remember everything that we have done to each other in how many lives we had up to here? Maybe we come into a situation, and I'm just giving random examples here. You come into a situation that, I don't know, you have done some bad to a child in a previous life, maybe other situation that I read today, it was someone, a sick person that was in that situation because he abused it. In the old days that there were these houses with many, many wives, and he abused all of them, the harem, as I think they call, and he abused so much of his power that he came with totally in the sick situation. And one person that came to help him was actually one that he had abused. But they had this interrelation. If they get to know this afterwards as a recount, but she would look at, would you look to the sick person and look for the one that is needing help, or you look for the one that is has abused you? Would you actually, how much willingness would have to be there every time? Are we there to look at all this past that has gone before us and with fresh eyes and say, do we need or do we not need that? And would you care for the sick person? Would you care for the child that maybe in some other life has hurt you enormously, and now it's on your care to make that childhood successful, that new spirit to be successful in this life? So that is the reason God, in His divine justice, put on this veil, temporary veil, that help us at the stage we are today to evolve without having to look back at all of that any and all times. We have a couple of minutes, not many, but on this topic of reincarnation, there are some interesting questions that are related to this reincarnation topic, and I'll cover them briefly again, and I also give you every time with the codes, the number of the question, the source, so you can go and look. But some thoughts that you might have that are related to the reincarnation topic. One, and this question, I got 3 of them. The most common that I get asked is, if we have this reincarnation, what about the family ties? Does it destroy them? Because we are going to have this family now, and maybe in the next life I have another family, another father, and now my father is my brother, or my sister is my child. How does that? And this one, I tell my sister, thanks God, this life she's my sister, that she kind of know that has not been before. And I always tell that does not destroy the family ties, because the affection is there. We don't, as we evolve, the world is our family, and we are gonna get there. But we are gonna get there from making this sharing love. Evolution is sharing love. So loving and sharing love, this family that we have now and these bonds that we will create will be strengthened, because we are going to go and continue to be together throughout many, many reincarnations, not only within this one. And we don't know in different situations who it's going to be. So we start extending this family tie to a broader set of people and having the opportunity to share love even and even more. Other topic that I get asked is, interesting enough, gender. Do we have to incarnate as in the same gender? No. The thing is about gender is we have, again, as we have to have the experiences in different experiences, we are going to have to incarnate as men and women, because these are different experiences. So we have every variety of social position give different triumphs and duties. So give us the opportunity of acquiring experience. If I only incarnate as a woman, I will never have the experience of incarnating as a man. So, and the challenges and the opportunities of having the different genders. Having said that, we don't need to fear that. This is carefully planned and will go, and also give us more awareness and experiences to love and understand what is on the other side. Final one, we are almost there on time, and we can talk about many different aspects that the reincarnation opened to us. But I'll leave you with one that is particularly interesting, and I care a lot, is about childhood. Because one of the questions it's often asked is, okay, if we have these spirits that we are in this evolution, we have been there forever, we are not created at the moment of the bonding of the sperm and the egg bond. The spirit is not created there. It has been created before. This is not the first time we are incarnating. Sorry to break to you. We have been incarnated in different times. Why do we need to go through childhood? Why, if we need to spend all these years, why don't we hit the ground running, as people say? Why don't we start the game on day 0? Why do we need to spend so many years on this process? The thing is, childhood is a really good period. The way it works as we are getting, the spirit is there, but is increasing the ties towards the body through childhood and early years, make more open to the impressions it receives, even because also the body is not fully formed. It does require care and attention to do a lot of activities. It does require feeding. It does require a lot of care. It's done in a way that is open to receive care, to receive love, and open to the ideas it receives. So it contributes to its advancement that in the early childhood, especially, it receives this love and care, because if it receives this love and care and the moral ideas, it will be, whenever it gets older and goes into youth and adulthood, that spirit would have a basis to build on. And it's really important for everyone taking care of child education, contribute to impress upon this child the love, the care, the moral values that will help this spirit succeed in this specific incarnation. So it is really important that we go back to this earth as a child and have this opportunity to restart with love and care. So, and I always say that children education needs everybody's responsibility. So we all, even if we have children or don't have children, but having this in mind so we can help the ones that crosses our paths. We're talking about a lot. It's about time. I'm sure all of you have many questions that I might have asked, might have answered. If not, happy to put on the topics. And we continue next week with other topics. So I think that's it for today.
Thank you. Wonderful. Oh, I took some points here to share with other people because they're really, really wonderful, knowing about the family ties. Some people, they don't understand why they have in their families people with some problems, etc. And it's the best laboratory of evolution is our family. Thank you very much, my dear. Wonderful, my sweetheart.
Yeah. So should we stop recording?